I was brought up in a modern suburb. There was really nothing very old anywhere around me or in my life. Everything was modern. By complete chance, my father saw this advertisement for a bookbinder to be apprenticed to the public library, and I thought, that's fantastic, that's perfect. I work in Oamaru in the Tyne Street Bindery. I came to Oamaru in 1994 with my whole clan and family and friends. It's a place where books are bound, and whiskey is drunk, and conversations about the world occur.
Michael O'Brien chooses to be out of step with the rest of society, right down to his socks, or as he calls them, his moggins. He's in a different era. He does this because he believes not all is right with our modern world.
There's a German word which in English is translated to mean a fool or a madman who wishes to change the world for the better. I have tried, you could say naively, to change the world, thinking that coming here to this town was the way to achieve it. Jesus did not come from Rome, which was the centre of that empire. He came from a place called Nazareth that nobody had heard of. It was completely off the planet. It was like Oamaru. Who's ever heard of that? Nobody. So I knew that if you try a revitalisation movement, it's a good thing to do it in a fringe place, which is a power vacuum.
I see him as a visionary in that he has done a very good critique of society as it is. He's able to see what he agrees with and what he doesn't agree with in how society organises itself.
I would prefer, even when I'm not feeling very good, the scorn of society rather than buckle to their values, because I dislike society's values so much that, well, if I was a Jew, why would I wear these Nazi clothes?
Not all of society has scorned him. In fact, he has some definite supporters, even 1 or 2 followers.
He's been like the catalyst for everything else that's happened down in the precinct and the old part of Oamaru. Most of the people, not all of them, but most of them would admit that they were drawn here because of Michael.
Well, I earn my living as a traditional craftsman, self-employed traditional craftsman. Oh, well, Michael is very focused. Some would say obsessive. He's got a personal vision for himself, and he believes he's got to stick to it, which can be rather irritating at times if you disagree with him.
So I follow a life illusion. You have to say, well, what the heck is a life illusion? A life illusion, I believe, is how a person pictures themselves. What I find difficult is being looked at by tourists and being a curiosity. A lot of people think I'm dressed up for tourism, you know, and I'm a town crier or some sort of paid clown. Modern 20th century golf socks being argyle socks with this diamond pattern, it's directly descended from Moggins. That's why they have diamond patterns on golf socks. Thank you.
You're going to go and play golf?
No. No. The only time I ever felt like playing golf was when I lived in London, and it was everything to do with walking on grass. Thank you.
He did a lot from her with the whole Victorian thing, I think. And then he got fed up with that probably because people weren't doing it his way. They were only, you know, dressing up to come to work and then going home and just being normal. And so he thought, no, that's not good enough. I want to be more different. I want to shock people again. So further back in time. I'm just hoping that he won't, you know, go further back and start wearing the furs that he keeps on his floor in his room.
For now, though, Michael is in the Jacobean era, a time before industrialisation and the commercialism it created.
It's a Bible. You could go down to the Holy Shop in Thames Street and buy a Good News for Modern Man or the modern equivalent Bible for $30. This is going to cost about $2,000 to restore. Now, in the modern world, you just wouldn't do it. You throw it away and get the new one because we're in a consumer society. The whole point is that this informs my personality because I look at that and say, well, this is a beautiful thing made by hand, that there's nothing wrong with it, it just needs to be maintained. So we want to maintain culture. So I look at other things the same as I look at my own craft. The sad thing for me is that I'm seem to be a fashion of one. I actually would look for companions. I would welcome a community. That's why I came here. I actually came to Oamaru to fit in, not to stand out.
Michael's idea was to fit in with a like-minded community, people who, by working together, could step out of the mainstream and live a better life.
We've got this weird culture going on in Western society now where the aim is not to actually create good work most of the time, it's actually to earn money so that you can do nothing. Do nothing? Have you ever done nothing? It's not very much fun.
Certain people in the community who were semi-on-side might wear an old Swan-Dry, now wear zip-up polar fleece. And what does that mean? How does a New Zealand farmer benefit out of the Chinese-made polar fleece made of recycled Coke bottles as opposed to an old Swanee made of New Zealand sheep? Whoa!
The majority would not want to live and be like Michael, but a lot of them actually quite admire him.
I'm not embarrassed about him. People say, oh, you know, what about your dad? Isn't he weird? And don't you get embarrassed? And like at school. But I think, well, good for him, you know. He's doing what he's doing. And a lot of my friends' parents just, you know, they're conforming to what they think, you know, being a parent, driving their kids to soccer and stuff. And they don't seem to me as happy as I think Dad is.
Michael still hopes that one day people may see the world the way he does and take time to appreciate the simpler things and live a fuller life.
Most people are concerned with day-to-day life. They do their job and they do it well or badly. They come home, they cook dinner, they want to drink alcohol or smoke dope or whatever it is, or watch television and get out of it. And then there's a weekend, and maybe they'll go to golf or the bowling club, and that's their life. And before you know it, they have joined the bowls club and they're dead. And that's tragic. You know, that is tragic. I'm not a particularly religious person, but I don't believe we're put on earth to do that. I think that there's never ever been a period in the history of mankind where you've got as much conformity as you have now, and yet every person is under the delusion that they're an individual. I'm not. I'm trying to fit in. I'm not an individual.